If you're one of the 74 million Americans receiving Social Security benefits, I have some news that might shock you about your 2026 cost of living adjustment. In the next few minutes, you'll discover exactly how much your benefits will increase next year, why it might not be enough to cover your rising expenses, and most importantly, 3 actionable strategies you can use right now to maximize your benefits despite these challenges. Welcome to Financial Area, where we break down complex financial topics into simple, actionable advice. If you want to stay ahead of changes that affect your money, make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more valuable content. Let's start with what everyone wants to know. How much will your Social Security check actually increase in 2026? Well, if you've been following the predictions over the past few months, you might be in for a surprise. Just a few weeks ago, experts were projecting the 2026 cost of living adjustment to be somewhere between 3% and 3.7%. That sounded pretty decent, right? But here's where things get concerning. New inflation data has completely changed the game. The latest forecast for the 2026 Social Security COLA has dropped significantly, and we're now looking at an increase of just 2.6% to 3%. That's a substantial decrease from what was expected, and it's all thanks to July's inflation data coming in at 2.5% year over year. Now, you might think that lower inflation sounds like good news, but for Social Security beneficiaries, it means smaller increases in your monthly checks. So what does this actually mean for your wallet? Let's break it down with real numbers. If you're currently receiving $1,500 per month in Social Security benefits, a 3% COLA would give you an extra $45 per month, or $540 for the entire year. If you're getting $2,000 monthly, you'd see an increase of $60 per month. For someone receiving $1,000 monthly, that's just $30 more each month. Now, any increase is better than no increase, but here's the harsh reality. These modest bumps are unlikely to keep pace with what you're actually experiencing at the grocery store, the gas pump, or when you pay your utilities. Many beneficiaries are finding that their real-world expenses are rising much faster than what the official inflation numbers suggest. But here's where things get even more frustrating. There's something called Medicare Part B premiums, and they're expected to increase by $21.50 per month for 2026. Now, if you're thinking, that doesn't sound too bad, consider this shocking reality. If your monthly Social Security benefit is $900 or less, this Medicare premium increase could completely wipe out your entire COLA increase. That means after all the calculations and announcements, you might see absolutely no net increase in your actual take-home pay. Think about that for a moment. The cost of living adjustment is supposed to help you keep up with rising costs, but instead, it's being immediately consumed by higher healthcare premiums. It's no wonder so many beneficiaries feel like the system is working against them. This brings us to a bigger question that's on many people's minds. Can we actually trust these inflation numbers? If you've been to a grocery store lately, filled up your gas tank, or tried to pay rent, you might be wondering how the government can claim inflation is only 2.5% when everything feels so much more expensive. There's a growing sense among beneficiaries and advocates that the official Consumer Price Index for urban wage earners and clerical workers, that's the fancy name for the index used to calculate your COLA, doesn't accurately reflect the real-world experience of people living on fixed incomes. Food prices, housing costs, utilities, and medical care all seem to be rising much faster than what's being reported in the official statistics. Some people believe these numbers are being manipulated or massaged to present a rosier picture of the economy, possibly to influence Federal Reserve policy or to minimize the government's financial obligations. Whether that's true or not, the end result is the same, a lower COLA for 2026 than what many people desperately need. Let me explain how this whole calculation actually works, because understanding the process might help you see why the system feels so disconnected from reality. The Social Security Administration doesn't just look at 1 month of data.
Instead, they take the average consumer price index for the third quarter of the year, that's July, August, and September, and compare it to the same 3-month period from the previous year. The percentage increase becomes your COLA for the following year. Here's the important part. We only have July's data so far. We're still waiting for August and September numbers. If inflation surges in those months, the COLA projection could be revised upward. However, based on current economic trends, most experts believe the final adjustment will stay in that 2.6 to 3% range. The frustration with these modest increases has led to growing calls for lawmakers to address the inadequacies of the current system. Advocacy groups are pushing for reforms, writing letters to Congress and trying to draw attention to how the current COLA calculation fails to protect the purchasing power of seniors and people with disabilities. But meaningful change has been slow to materialize, and many beneficiaries feel that Congress is simply out of touch with the realities facing Americans on fixed incomes. Now, I know all of this might sound discouraging, but here's the good news. You're not completely powerless in this situation. There are concrete steps you can take right now to maximize your benefits and offset some of these challenges. The first and most important thing you can do is review your Medicare plan every single year. I cannot stress this enough. This one action alone could save you more money than your COLA increase will give you. Plans change, your health needs change, and what was the best option last year might not be the best option this year. Let me give you some real examples of how much money people have saved by doing this. Miriam McGee saved $1,200 per year. That's $100 every month just by switching her Medicare plan. Ken Johnson saved over $2,000 annually, which comes out to $174 per month. Harold saved nearly $1,000 per year, or $79 monthly. These aren't rare success stories. Thousands of beneficiaries are finding significant savings by taking the time to review their options. Think about it this way. Even if you get a 3% COLA increase on a $1,500 monthly benefit, that's only $45 more per month. But by switching Medicare plans, you could potentially save $100 or more monthly. That's more than double what your COLA increase might give you. The key is getting help from the right sources. There are organizations that provide free, unbiased assistance to help you navigate the complex world of Medicare. They're not trying to sell you anything. Their job is simply to help you find the plan that works best for your specific needs and budget. These services can save you time, money, and the frustration of trying to figure everything out on your own. Don't try to go it alone when it comes to Medicare decisions. The system is deliberately complex, with dozens of plans, different coverage options, and varying costs. What seems like a small difference in premiums or deductibles can add up to hundreds or thousands of dollars over a year. Professional guidance can help you avoid costly mistakes and find opportunities for savings you might never have discovered on your own. Here's something else you can do that doesn't cost you anything. Share this information with others. If you know someone who's on Medicare, turning 65, or getting ready to retire, encourage them to review their options and seek help. By sharing knowledge and resources, you're helping build a community that looks out for each other during these challenging times. Now let's talk about what to watch for in the coming weeks. The final COLA for 2026 won't be determined until we have all 3 months of third quarter inflation data. The August and September numbers will be released in the coming weeks, and while it's unlikely, there's still a chance that a significant uptick in inflation could push the COLA projection higher than the current 2.6 to 3% range. The official announcement typically comes in October, so mark your calendar. But don't hold your breath for dramatically better news. Current economic trends suggest we're probably looking at one of the smallest COLA increases in recent years. While we wait for those final numbers, it's worth staying informed about potential policy changes. Though there's little indication that Congress will act in the near term, continued advocacy and public pressure could eventually lead to reforms.
Some of the changes being discussed include adjusting the COLA formula to better reflect the actual expenses of seniors and people with disabilities, providing additional support for low-income beneficiaries, and capping or reducing Medicare premium increases. These changes won't happen overnight, but beneficiaries and advocates who stay engaged and informed are more likely to see meaningful reforms in the future. Your voice matters, and staying connected to these issues helps ensure that the concerns of Social Security recipients don't get forgotten in Washington. Let's be realistic about what we're facing. The 2026 Social Security COLA is shaping up to be one of the smallest in recent years, with that projected increase of just 2.6% to 3%. For many beneficiaries, especially those on lower incomes, this increase will be entirely offset by higher Medicare Part B premiums. Some people will literally see no net increase in their take-home pay after the Medicare deduction. This reality underscores how important it is to take control of what you can control. You can't change the COLA calculation, but you can review your Medicare plan, seek out savings wherever possible, and stay informed about developments that affect your benefits. The current system clearly falls short for many Social Security and SSI recipients. The disconnect between official inflation numbers and the real cost of living that people experience every day is creating genuine hardship for millions of Americans on fixed incomes. While the COLA is intended to help beneficiaries keep up with inflation, the current formula isn't doing its job effectively. This is why continued advocacy and public pressure are so important. The more people speak up about these inadequacies, the more likely we are to see meaningful reforms in the future. But in the meantime, you need to focus on the practical steps you can take today. Start with that Medicare plan review. It could genuinely save you more money than the COLA will give you. Don't wait until the last minute during open enrollment when everyone is scrambling to make decisions. Start researching your options now, seek out that free professional help, and make sure you're not leaving money on the table. Remember, even small changes can make a big difference when you're living on a fixed income. Every dollar you save on healthcare costs is a dollar you can spend on food, utilities, or other necessities. In a year when your COLA increase might barely cover your Medicare premium increase, finding these savings becomes even more critical. The 2026 COLA might be disappointing, but you're not powerless. Take action on what you can control. Stay informed about what's happening with your benefits, and don't hesitate to seek help when you need it. Your financial security in retirement depends not just on what the government provides, but on the smart decisions you make to maximize every benefit available to you.